is due. The Prime Minister was clear and categorical on the 26th of February, and I quote, "I want to reassure the House by making 3 further commitments. First, we will hold a second meaningful vote by the Tuesday, the 12th of March at the latest. There is still 24 hours to go, who knows? The Prime Minister also committed to vote on no deal by the 13th of March and vote on whether to extend Article 50 by the 14th of March. And she concluded by saying, they are commitments I'm making as Prime Minister and I will stick by them. Mr. Speaker, this is a matter of trust because time and time again, this Prime Minister has failed to negotiate, failed to compromise and delayed and delayed and delayed. After 3 months, the Prime Minister has not achieved one single change to her deal. She's simply, as we've often said, running down the clock between no deal, her deal, or the chaos of leaving the EU without any agreement with anyone. Mr. Speaker, it was a bad deal in December when it was first tabled. It was a bad deal in January when it was rejected by the largest parliamentary margin ever in history that a government has been defeated. And it's still a bad deal today, March the 11th. These shambolic negotiations and endless delays are having real-life consequences in workplaces across the country. Businesses are holding back on investment. Jobs have been lost. Workplaces are closing. Workers fear for their jobs. The National Health Service and public services are having to spend millions of pounds preparing for a no-deal outcome that this House has already clearly rejected. So can the Prime Minister, the Prime Minister is not able to be here, apparently. What changes have they got to the backstop? When will the Attorney-General be publishing his apparently new legal advice? Or is it the case that after 3 months of delay, nothing has changed? Given they whipped their MPs for the amendment in the name of the Honourable Member for Altrincham and Sale West, which said the deal could only be supported with changes to the backstop, will the Prime Minister be voting against her own deal if no changes have been secured? Will they confirm that we will get absolutely the meaningful vote tomorrow and it won't be delayed yet again? And, as I said, the vote to rule out no deal on the 13th and vote to extend Article 50 on the 14th as promised? And will the Minister confirm that if the deal is rejected again tomorrow, whether the Prime Minister will shift her red lines and show not just that she's willing to meet with members of this House, but she's willing to compromise with them as well? This chaos, Mr. Speaker, cannot go on much longer. The fate of people's workplaces and jobs and businesses is at stake the longer this government fails to negotiate and simply dither after dither after dither and then further delay. It's time for answers.
The Right Honourable Gentleman talks about further delay. I have confirmed to him that there will be a meaningful vote in this House tomorrow. I have explained that negotiations are ongoing and the government is seeking legally binding changes which would address the concerns that have been raised by this House. But the Right Honourable Gentleman speaks about chaos, and we all remember his advice to the government on day one after a referendum to trigger Article 50 immediately. I think we can be very clear that in his hands this process would be no safe. He talks about investment, and he and his party will have the opportunity to vote to secure investment and unlock investment tomorrow by backing the deal. They will do so fully informed on the government's legal analysis, and he asked about the timetable for publishing the Attorney-General's advice. I can confirm to him that that advice will be published before this House sits tomorrow.